Hello, so I thought today I'd just share something I've been thinking on, and it's about this idea of guard dog. It's come to mind just thinking in terms of when we talk about sort of environment and sustainability. It can be quite triggering for some people, and it sort of activates this kind of guard dog that seems to be sort of protecting something. And so for me, I know from my own experience, when somebody talks to me about something that I might be doing, quote, wrong, I can get very defensive. And I think it's this kind of guard dog that's protecting my sense of self, so my idea about myself and my idea about what I'd like myself to be. And I've just been sort of exploring this a little bit and sort of getting curious about, you know, what's this guard dog and what's it doing? What's my sense of self and, you know, this gap, and why I might be sort of vulnerable or perceive myself as vulnerable. So I think a lot of it is about this idea of us as individuals, and about, us kind of needing fixing. That almost all sort of things that people are selling, there's some problem that it's trying to solve for us, and a lot of those direct themselves not at necessarily a physical problem, but at something about ourselves. And maybe that's the way we look, or it might be something more about our personalities. And you know, products tend to be sort of targeted about the statement they make about us as people. So we've got this real kind of conditioning going on about what our self actually is. And I think underneath all of that is the fact that for most of us, we really spend our lives perhaps trying to understand who this self actually is. And so there's a kind of unknown, and there's a fear that we might not be very nice, or, you know, that we might not be good enough. So I really wanted to kind of think about this, first of all, in terms of, you know, how to deal with my own guard dog, and also how to have these conversations with people where we're not sort of activating their own guard dogs and, you know, causing them to feel bad about themselves, because that's really not helpful and not warranted, and I don't think anything that anybody wants to do. So I think for me, I'm wondering whether starting from sort of reminding myself that I am good enough as I am, that I'm just as important as anybody else, regardless of any of their qualities, their gender, their race, their religion, their beliefs, whatever it happens to be, how smart they are, how much money they have, just to remind myself that I matter as much as anybody else, and that I am worthwhile and lovable, that I don't need to judge any other person or compare myself to somebody else, or to put somebody else down in order to feel better about myself. In fact, I can feel better about myself by not doing those things. Reminding myself that making mistakes helps me grow, and that it doesn't make me a bad person, it makes me human. And that I'm open to learning and growing as I go through life. I don't have to be an expert to have a value in society. Which is really important on this, because I'm really finding my way, and hopefully this is a chance to kind of have conversations with people with different perspectives, and to sort of really explore and understand what this is all about and how we can deal with it, because it feels really important if we want to make changes and to live in a less polarised society, you know, to come together with people rather than pushing each other to separate poles, and that feels really needed right now. So then what happens with this guard dog? Well, I'm wondering whether it's possible to have this guard dog defend those things, to have this guard dog defend when somebody says I'm not good enough as I am, that my guard dog kicks in then, that it says, actually I am, and just, sort of does whatever it needs to do, but hopefully nothing too vicious, just to say, actually that's not true, and I'm defending that ground, and I am important, and the guard dog can defend that, so that it's not defending some idea about myself which also is not true. And I guess from there we do kind of go into whether you kind of explore who you really are, and that's much deeper and beyond anything I could offer here, but I think it's so important to sort of reset those core things that matter about us, and to be really conscious of the messages that we're getting from other sources, whether that's from sort of media sources and marketing sources, or whether that's from people around us. It's really good to be sort of conscious about what are the messages that are coming to me, and should I just literally switch them off.